Good morning. I can't hear you.
Good morning.
Okay. You just got up?
Kind of.
Sleepy. Zamrez, your father is there, kya? I want to talk to your father for 2 minutes. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, hello ma'am. How are you? Good morning.
I'm good, doing good, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. Good.
Sir, a few things I wanted to know. Pooja
Yeah.
just shared that you have registered him for Harvest Olympiad, right?
Yeah. That's a mail actually sent by the school. So day before they will registered. I think the exam is also on the November 15th.
No, but the syllabus that I came across, that
Mm.
is very diverted from the course that we are doing right now. Because
Oh,
they have
okay.
chapters from grade 9, grade 8, like that.
Okay.
It's a mixture. So
Okay.
if we follow this curriculum that the school has shared with me, then I will be diverted from the schedule sent by the Olympiad success. That is what the confusion is. So I think you need to connect with Pooja once.
Okay.
So maybe then we can come to a common conclusion that how to take both of them parallelly and move ahead. So that is one thing, sir. One more thing, sir, Zamrez, about Zamrez reviews.
Yeah.
This I wanted to discuss. Sir,
Yeah,
Zamrez is
please.
a very smart child and
Mm.
he's very sharp.
Mm.
But his only disadvantage is he doesn't revise at home.
Okay.
Once the chapter is done here,
Mm.
here he is solving question in front of me because that is fresh in his mind. Next week, when I giving him a Olympiad question paper to solve, since he has not revised,
Mm.
so he is all confused.
Okay.
Last exam that we did, I asked him
Mm.
to solve the paper in front of me.
Mm.
There were 25 questions in which 18 questions were wrong.
Okay.
So what was the problem? He forgot
Mm.
what was done last week. So
Mm.
he doesn't revise back at home.
Okay.
That is one thing, sir. He can do. But if he doesn't revise, sir, even if I work hard, you work hard, nothing will work out.
Yeah, I get that.
So please make him understand this, that he needs to
Yeah.
open his book.
Okay.
And once a homework is being shared, he has to do that.
Yeah.
So he doesn't solve those questions. So his revision remains incomplete.
Mm. Yeah,
Please
I got
make
it.
sure that he does do that. Apart from that, nothing else from my end, sir.
Okay. Actually, this is the same issue going with the school syllabus as well. I need to manage this. Okay, I will make it.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Hey, Ramesh, va?
Can we start the class? Zamrez, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll start a new chapter, that is transportation in plants and animals. So this chapter will be divided into 3 sessions. So first we will be dealing about transportation in plants, followed by transportation of animals. Transportation of animals is comparatively big, so we have divided that into 2 sessions. Clear? So first we have to understand what is transportation and why is it required. So transportation, just a second. Transportation comes under a process known as life process. Have you heard about it before? Now, what is a life process? Processes essential for life. Please take a note of this. Zamrez, you're sitting with a pen and copy. Please note it down. দিদি একটুখানি জলটা আস্তে খোলো না। Zamrez, note down this point. Let me know once you are done. Zamrez done? Okay. So, there are 4 processes. If we stop any of the processes, you and I, we will not live. If I stop giving you food, you will die. If you stop respiring, you will die. If you stop circulating, you will die. If you stop excreting, you will die. Any one of the processes stops, a person dies. Not a person, any kind of organism, they will die. So these processes are called life processes. Now, keeping the concept in mind, Zamrez, I have a question for you. Zamrez, I can't see you. Okay, I have a question. Is reproduction a essential process? Is it a life process? No. Why? Why do you think reproduction is not a life process?
Because you can live without it. The species will die.
Yes. So it is a life process for the species, but at the individual level, it is not a life process. And your explanation is correct. Now, transportation is one of the life processes. In it, what are we doing? We are transporting things. What are the things that we are transporting? Zamrez?
Oxygen and nutrition.
We are transporting gases. What else? Nutrients. What else?
Blood.
Blood is a transporting medium. We transport things through blood. What else? Water. Okay. We transport majorly these 3 things. Okay. Sometimes we also transport what antibodies. You know what's an antibody is? That fights with the antigen and cause our immunity to be built. So sometimes in transportation, you will come across antibodies also. Clear? Clear? Now, in case of animals, animals have a very well organized transportation system or a circulatory system, which includes heart, various kind of pipelines like arteries, veins, capillaries, right? Now, plants do not have such a diversified system. Why do you think plants lack that? In fact, let me tell you one information. There are many plants that do not have any transportation system, but still they live. How is it happening, do you think? Tell me. I just now told you that transportation is a life process. So without transportation, obviously a human being will not live. But at the same time, I'm giving you a statement that there are many organisms that do not have a transportation system, but still they are living. How are they living? Have you heard of a plant called Cycas? Pinus? Pinus also you have not heard. Will you see the picture in Google quickly? Cycas and Pinus. Seen? Note this down.
Yeah, see, ficus.
Sorry? You have seen a
Yes.
Cycas, right?
Ficus.
Cycas and Pinus do not have a well-developed transportation system. Still, they're alive. How do you think this is possible? Have you seen the height of the plant Zamrez? Cycas height. Is it a very tall plant? Zamrez, I cannot see you, so the
No.
communication is not happening.
No, it's not.
It's not, right? It's a short plant. So remember this, Cycas short plant. So what is the advantage that they have? You compare a mango plant and a cycas plant. Mango has a height. Cycas is dwarf. Now, what is the advantage that the cycas have over mango? Now, I'm telling you, mango has a very well developed transportation system that cycas don't have. But still, they are living. How do you think this is possible? Tell me. Any wild guesses? For some reason, I'm waiting for an answer. Do you know, or you want me to explain? Okay. Now, any kind of a short plant will absorb water through the roots. Correct? But if the plant is short, they can just transport the water from cell to cell, right? Through simple diffusion. You need a transportation system when the water has to travel to a longer distance, right? You need a lift when your building has 5 stories and 6 stories. You don't need a lift in a building which has a ground floor and the first floor. Correct? You can walk manually and go. Correct? But you need a transportation system or a pulley system when the building is tall. Similarly, the plant needs a transportation system when the plant is tall and thick. They don't need a transportation system when the plant is small. Clear? Now, if I compare a plant transportation system and an animal transportation system, animal transportation system is much more diversified and much more vast. Why? Because animal as an organism is very, very complex as compared to plants. Clear? Can I move forward? Now, there is a difference between the transportation system in unicellular organisms and in multicellular organisms. In case of unicellular organisms, there are two processes that takes place. Just a second. In case of, note this down. Unicellular organism. Are you noting this down?
Just 1 second. Done.
Okay. Now, why do you think unicellular organism uses these two processes? Do you know about these two processes in details? Okay. So what is diffusion? I will go back to an organism called amoeba. Have you heard of amoeba before? Can you see the diagram of
Yes,
amoeba?
it's
Looks
amoeba.
like this.
I know amoeba.
Huh?
Mhm.
This is an amoeba. Okay. So it's a unicellular organism. Okay. Now this particular organism transport or do a gaseous exchange, CO2 and O2. They do a gaseous exchange through their body surface. Okay. They do a simple diffusion. Simple diffusion means when molecules move across just a second. Note this down. Note this down, Zamrez. Done? Now, what is diffusion? Diffusion is a passive movement. What do you mean by passive movement? When anything moves without spending energy. Okay? Passive means without spending ATP. When a transportation is happening without the expenditure of energy, that type of transportation is known as passive transportation. Clear? So it's a passive transport where molecules move from higher concentration to lower concentration. Okay. So if you see here the number of red molecules are more inside as compared to outside. So red molecules will move from higher concentration to lower concentration across the body surface. Correct? So this type of transportation is known as diffusion process. Okay, clear? Any doubts? Now we move into the next process, that is osmosis. This is also a passive transport. Note this down. We know once you're done. So, what did you understand here?
Is diffusion of water between plasma and the membrane.
So, both the concepts are similar, but it is just that in diffusion, any kind of molecule can transport. But in case of osmosis, only water will be transported. Okay. Apart from that, in case of diffusion, it can happen across any kind of membrane. It can happen in any medium. Okay. So if suppose something is burning at one side of your home and you are getting the smell on the other corner of your house, you're getting the smell because of diffusion process. Clear? But osmosis is when only water molecule is involved. Number two is it is happening across the plasma membrane. You know what's a plasma membrane? Do you know, Zamrez? Yes or no? Okay. So if suppose this is a cell, you know about a cell? Cell will have a nucleus. This you know. So around the nucleus, there any kind of animal cell will have a covering over it, will have a cover over it. Any kind of animal cell will have a cover over it. That cover is known as plasma membrane. Clear? So when the water molecule are transporting from higher concentration to lower concentration through the plasma membrane, then it is called diffuse, then it is called osmosis. Clear? Please write down a difference between osmosis and diffusion now. Give me 2 points of difference. Quickly. I want it in the chat box. Zamrez, I'm waiting for the answer. Diffusion is a passive movement of molecule from area of high concentration. I told you to give me 2 points.
2 points.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a passive movement.
Think of one more point. What is the thing that is getting transported here and what is the thing which is transporting there? Think about it. You have it on your screen itself. Yes. And what is the surface through which diffusion is happening and what is the surface through which osmosis is happening? Waiting for your answer. Done. Now I will send you one picture. If it is getting attached, then I will send you a picture. Have you received one picture in the chat box? Have you received the image? Can you please copy it down quickly? I want you to copy it down in your copy.
Let's take a screenshot of this.
Hmm?
Later.
You have got 3 points, right? Here.
I do it like after class.
You can do it after the class, no problem. Okay, Zamruz, one more thing. If you check the chat box, I have posted the homework and the notes of today's class in the chat box. Okay? You can take the access from your papa and you can do it. Clear? Okay. Moving ahead. I hope the concepts are clear. So now we will be entering into the core of the chapter, that is transportation in plants. So plant has 3 parts, 3 major parts: root, stem, and the leaf. Okay. So when I talk of transportation, what are the things that the plant will transport? So the plant will be transporting 2 important things. What will plant transport?
Water.
Okay. Water and minerals. Remember this, Zamrez, water cannot transport alone. Okay. Always you have some kind of mineral salts that are dissolved in the water. Clear? So water are always transported along with minerals and food. That is glucose. Clear? There might be a question in the Olympiad. What is transported? Is it glucose or starch? Tell me, Zamrez. What is transported? Is it the glucose which is transported, or is it the starch which is getting transported? Huh?
Glucose.
Why not starch?
The starch happens in photosynthesis.
Yeah, but starch is also made in a plant, right? So why is it only glucose? Zamrez, suppose someday your mom made good biryani and you want to feed me. Okay. So what will you do? Will you keep the biryani in the fridge for 2-3 days and then give it to me? No, right? You will prefer preparing it fresh and then giving it to me. Correct? Right? This is how plant also transport things. So whenever they are transporting food, they are transporting freshly made food, which is the
starch is too insoluble in water.
very good. Apart from that,
It's too large and complex.
and starch is a stored food. There are 3 important points about starch. Now, first, they are big, so they cannot be loaded. Second is they're insoluble, so they will not mix with water. Third is, even if they're transporting it, they are some kind of a stored food, which they don't want to use. They want to transport the fresh water, which is the glucose. Fresh food, which is the glucose. Here. Now, water and minerals are transported through, okay. Now, what is the transportation system in plants? So, what plants transport water and minerals and food through a system known as vascular bundle. Vascular bundle is a tissue. It's a complex tissue. Okay. That has taken up the role of transportation. Transportation of both minerals and water and minerals and food. Now, vascular bundles are of two types. Vascular bundles are of two types. Xylem and phloem. Clear? Xylem and phloem is dedicated to the transportation of water and minerals. Water and minerals are transported by xylem and food is transported by phloem. Clear? Clear? Now let us go through the points given here. Water body is generally divided into root, stem, leaf. The roots in the soil, which is the major source of nutrients in the plant. Water and the other nutrients enter the plant through the roots. The leaves are the food production center or the factory of food. So leaf is the food factory. And root are the main point where water and minerals will be absorbed. Using sunlight and carbon dioxide and through the process of photosynthesis, the plants will prepare their food. Now the food from the leaf has to reach through all parts of the plant through the process of transportation. And for the food production, you also need water. So water also has to reach from the root leaf so that food can be made completely. Clear? Now, first we will understand root hair. You know what's a root hair, right? Suppose this is the main root, which is called the primary root. Primary root has small thin-like projections or extensions coming out, which are called the root hairs, right? These are the root hairs. Okay. Now, what is their role? If you see these root hairs, they're one cell thick. They're very, very thin structures. They are just one cell thick. So what do? They absorb
nutrients.
They absorb water and not nutrients, minerals. They absorb the water and minerals from the soil. From the soil. Clear? Now, here are the points how plants take in the water. Now, there are many elongated root hairs to increase the total surface area of the water absorption. Now, since you know that root hairs have to increase its surface, so it has introduced the root hair system. Now, they have thin walls to speed up the intake of water by osmosis. Since water is getting transported, so here water is getting inside the root hair through the process of osmosis. Clear? Clear? Now, inside these cells, let me now draw a root hair for you to explain you this. Wait a minute. Zamrez, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, Zamrez?
Yes.
Okay. Let me draw it for you. Now, this concept is very important, Zamrez. Now, understand this. Suppose this is a plant. Okay. Now, the plant will have its main root followed by these hairs, which are called the root hairs. Right? Right? Now, what is happening around? This root hair will have soil particles around it. Correct? They will be surrounded by the soil particles. And in between these soil particles, you will have water molecules. This is the water molecule. Correct? Now, the concentration of water molecule is higher in the soil or inside the root? Tell me.
In the soil.
In the soil. So here H2O concentration is high, right? And in osmosis, water moves from higher concentration to lower concentration. So water will move from the soil into the root hair, right? So water molecules are taken in. Now this whole process, this is the transportation of water across, since root cell is a living cell, so it will have a plasma membrane. Plasma membrane, so this is known as osmosis. Correct? So water is absorbed by the root hairs by the process of osmosis. Clear? Now, when the water is inside, what will happen? This water has to be transported. Why the water has to be transported? Because here is the leaf, right? Leaf will need the water to make food because CO2 plus H2O gives C6H12O6, correct? So you need the H2O from the soil, from the root. So the H2O has to be transported into the leaf. Understood the process? So that is why you need to transport water. Clear? Now, can you please read these points and let me know if you have any doubt?
Yes, Red.
Any doubts? Can I move to the next slide? Now we will be talking about one more process of transpiration. Why am I talking about transpiration? Because this will help you to understand some things. Now, what is transpiration? Transpiration is a loss of plant. You know about stomata, right? We just discussed about stomata. So in stomata, if you remember, we learned that it is also a site of gaseous exchange. Correct, Zamrez? Now, stomata at the end of the day is an opening. So when you have an open space and the sun is standing and the plant is standing in the sun, what will happen? Water will be evaporated from the openings. Correct? Water will be lost from these openings called stomata, and that is called transpiration. Transpiration is the loss of water in the form of water vapor in the environment. Clear?
Yes.
Now there is an advantage. Now this is a loss. If you allow the plant to stand in sun for a long period of time without watering it, it will dry up because transpiration forces will be high and the plant will dry. Now, this is a harmful process, but it also has an advantage. It helps a plant to transport the water and mineral. How? Let us go back to the previous drawing and understand this. Okay, let me draw the leaf now. Suppose this is the leaf and the leaf has guard cell and it has an open stomata. Now, from here, what is happening? Water is getting lost due to the transpiration, right? So water is getting lost in the atmosphere. Correct. So what will happen because of this? Don't you think if there is a pipeline, so don't you think there will be a suction, there will be a vacuum that will be created here? Have you ever tried drinking any kind of soft drink through a straw? Have you ever tried drinking? You have never tasted any soft drink like Thumbs Up,
Yes,
Pepsi? Have you ever tried drinking it through a straw?
yes.
What do you do in a straw? You put a pressure here, right? You create a suction pressure here, right? Due to the suction, what is happening? From the base of the straw, suppose this is your straw. You put a suction pressure here. By pulling the air inside, initially, you draw air inside your mouth, correct? And by that, what is happening? A vacuum is created inside. So to fill up that vacuum, what happens? The soft drink enters inside the pipeline, right? Similar thing happen here. Here, when water is getting evaporated, so what is happening? Inside, it is creating a suction pressure. It is creating a vacuum. Sorry, it is creating a vacuum. To fill up that vacuum, what will happen? The root will again absorb water and transport it.
Yes.
Right? Again, that water will be used up and some will be evaporated. And again, a vacuum is created here. So another round of water will be pulled from the soil. So like that, the process goes on. Clear? So this is what it is talking about. Just go through it. Clear? Now we will be talking about transpiration pull. Now, few of the things you have already understood, so I will read out a few lines. Result of the evaporation of water from the surface of the mesophyll layer of the leaf to the atmosphere through stomata. Evaporation of water from the leaf surface causes a negative pressure or a suction force in the xylem that pulls water from the root and the soil. This results in water being drawn from the xylem vessel. Transpiration pull draws water from the root to the leaves because of the effect of capillary action. The primary force that creates the capillary action are adhesion and cohesion. Adhesion is the attraction between the water surface and cohesion is the attraction between the water molecules. Now, before understanding this more clearly, we will take up transpiration pull later. First, you have to understand what is transpiration that you have already understood and how is transpiration pulling the water from soil to leaves. This much you have understood. Clear? But again, capillary action, adhesion, cohesion, these are completely new concepts. We'll take it up later at the end when we understand xylem. Clear? Let us first understand now the vascular structure. We learned about the vascular bundle. I told you that vascular bundle has two components, xylem and phloem. Right? Go through the slides. I think you know about it. You read the 3 points. Read. Read? Any doubts? No, right? So they have just discussed that transportation, xylem is involved with transportation of water and minerals. Phloem is involved with transportation of food. And obviously, the concentration of phloem is more in leaves because that's the factory of food production. Clear? And xylem is mostly present in and in the stem. Okay? Clear? Now we will understand the position. Now, if I look into the roots, okay, if I look into the root, suppose this is a root and this is the vascular bundle. What is vascular bundle? Primary and xylem and phloem together is known as vascular bundle. Okay. So this is one vascular bundle. This is another vascular bundle. This is another vascular bundle. Okay. If this is a root, bacha. If you see the position of the vascular bundle, they are centrally located. They are located in the center of the root. And also, if you see the location of the xylem, they are always towards the central position, right? They are always towards the inner side. And phloem lies towards the outer side. Okay? Remember this. Xylem is always towards the inner side and phloem is towards the outer side. Clear? Can you please note this down? Note down these 3 points. Done. Note this the point about stems. Clear? Noted? Now, the reason why they are centrally located is xylem and phloem. Xylem is a very, very hard structure. In case of roots, you have to make its core very, very strong. Because periphery can be soft because it has to transport water, it has to absorb water. So you can afford to have a softer edges, but you know you need to have a very strong core. That is why vascular bundle is present at the center. Now, when I look into the stem center is under tremendous pressure. Why? Because the whole weight of the plant is taken by the central position of the stem. So if my xylem and phloem is present at the center, it will squeeze and it will get destroyed. So that is why they have taken up a strategy and kept the vascular bundle towards the edges. They have kept it as a column at the edges. Suppose this is my stem. So vascular bundle is present at the edges. Okay, not at the center. Clear? They are present at the margin. Also, when it is present at the margin, you know that the plant bends, right? So if the plant, it needs a structure that will prevent it from breaking. It needs little strength. The strength is also provided by the marginal vascular bundle. Little bit of strength can be provided, but if it is present centrally, it cannot give strength to the marginal edges. So the plant will break in case of wind. And if it is present in the center, due to weight, the vascular bundle will squash and it will degenerate. Clear? Zamrez, we will end our discussion here. Next class, we will continue from here. Zamrez, a homework worksheet. Okay, Zamrez, wait. A homework worksheet has been shared, but it is after this slide. So you can avoid doing it today. But till today, whatever notes is also being shared, please read and come. Clear? Bye, Zamrez.